As crash victims' families start calling lawyers, Trump's words may be evidence in suits. Families of the victims in Wednesday's catastrophic airline collision are in the early stages of filing claims against the government, and their case could receive a boost from high-profile comments made by President Trump and members of his cabinet admitting fault. Lawyers from the nation's top aviation disaster firm say they've already been contacted by some families exploring lawsuits after the disaster near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport on Wednesday that killed 67 people. The firm secured settlements for families of victims in the nation's last major air disaster, the 2009 crash on a Continental Airlines flight in Buffalo that killed 50 people. Public comments by Trump, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth could make their cases stronger if families of victims in this week's crash move forward, according to partners with New York-based Kreinler and Kreinler. Duffy basically says, "We're not going to run away from it, we'll own it," and the president has made statements about the Army helicopter pilot who messed up, said Justin Green, a partner of the firm. It'll be interesting to see how the government and this administration handles any efforts to resolve this case. It's within their power to direct claims be paid swiftly. The apparent acceptance of responsibility is a departure from past lawsuits, where government agencies are ultra-cautious about liability and assigning blame, Green said. The transcripts and social media posts are already part of the fabric of the case and could be introduced as evidence, he said. It wouldn't be new territory for Trump, whose tweets in 2017 were notably used by the Ninth Circuit of Appeals to block the travel ban imposed on majority Muslim countries. Earlier this week, a federal judge cited tweets made by White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt when he issued a restraining order against a pause in federal grants and loans. On Friday, Trump said the Army U-60 Black Hawk helicopter that collided with the American Eagle regional passenger jet was to blame for the accident, flying too high. Helicopters flying near Reagan are capped at 200 feet to avoid aircraft. It was far above the 200-foot limit. That's not really too complicated to understand, is it? Trump said in a Truth Social post. At the White House Thursday, Hegseth appeared to say the Defense Department would take responsibility for the crash. No excuses. We're going to get to the bottom of this. It never should have happened. Tragically, last night, a mistake was made, and there was some sort of an elevation issue we're investigating at the DoD and Army level, Hegseth said. Representatives from the White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment Friday. Lawsuits could target FAA, DoD, American. The aviation disaster firm Kreinler also represents victims in the Baltimore Key Bridge collapse and Boeing's 737 MAX lawsuits from the crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, which killed 157 people in 2019. Green said the families have full legal rights and almost certainly will make recoveries in settlements or a trial against the Federal Aviation Administration for alleged negligence by air traffic controllers and the Department of Defense for any negligence by pilots of the helicopter. The two areas that are most ripe for potential accidents in our aviation safety system are the training and qualifications of the flight crew, which was the focus in Buffalo, and now air traffic controls similarly being undermanned and overcast, said Dan Rose, another Kreinler partner. Everybody knew for 2 decades a ground incursion or mid-air collision was the most likely soft spot and nothing was done. I expect changes will be made as a result. To seek damages from the federal government, litigants must file a notice of claim under the Federal Tort Claims Act. Then they'd have to wait to see if the government declines the claim or wait 6 months to file the official lawsuit. It would then be decided by a judge rather than a jury. It's premature, but we know each family has very substantial claims. The law looks at the economic damages, as in the loss for the survivors and their support. The mortgage can't get paid and kids can't go to college, Green said. Then more importantly, the non-economic side, the emotional harm and the suffering of their survivors. Each case is litigated individually.